So, dear friends, in our series now, looking at the lives of the three patriarchs, we come to Jacob. This is unique. Really quite a picture. We know Jacob as his name means in Hebrew, the twisted one, the deceiver. We come right to the end. It's not the end of his life, but skipping through to the point where Esau is coming to see his brother that he hasn't seen in a really long time. And he's coming with 400 men, and Jacob understood that this did not bode well for him. And we see by his actions that he was fearful about what was about to happen. And we can understand, again, by what he did, that something needed to change. His life was in danger. So he sent ahead his family and his flocks and all, and he himself went. He crossed this river. The name of it is Yavok, which in Hebrew means empty. It doesn't say what he was thinking when he went back there by himself. But we know that he was met by a man. And he wrestled with this man. Why would that happen? Why would he wrestle with somebody there? Except we understand this through the Spirit, and we know this as the story unfolds, that this was not just any man, but this was actually an incarnation of the Son of God, Yeshua. So he wrestles with him. Now, let's put it together with what do we imagine he was looking to accomplish by going back by himself when his brother was coming. He's thinking, my brother's coming to kill me. I've defrauded him. I've been wicked. I've been deceitful. And I imagine he realized that if Esau met the same Jacob that he knew in the past, he would kill him. So Jacob went to empty himself of himself in the hope that something would change. So there he wrestles all night with this person. And the person says to him, hey, day is coming, let me go. And Jacob says, no, I will not let you go until you bless me. Now we need to understand in its depth what this blessing is. The Hebrew word for blessing, to bless, levarech, comes from the root word is berech, which means knee. And it probably doesn't take too much deep thought to understand the connection between the two. That when we're looking for blessing, to receive something from God, the picture is we're on our knees. It's a picture of humility. It's a picture of need, of submission. So he's asking God to give him what he needs in that moment, which is to be changed. And he says, I won't let you go until you change me. Wow. And in that moment, and this is something to understand about the ways of God, in that moment, God says, essentially, Yeshua, the man he wrestled with, says, okay, it's done. As if to say, all he was waiting for was for Jacob to make the commitment to not quit until the thing that was in him that was contrary to true life would be changed. Now, it's important to note that Jacob lived his life the way he did until the moment that he was at a life and death situation. Only then did he really look inside and see that there was such a darkness that would give Esau the justification to kill him. And in this moment of recognizing he was at a life and death situation, he chose to really look at who he was. And his wrestling with the Lord was wrestling essentially with his own nature, with the revelation of his darkness, which, we tend not to look at because we're afraid that to expose what's inside of us that's not okay will end up in our being rejected. But Jacob went through that process, and he submitted himself to the very physical hands of the Lord and begged to be changed. And the Lord said, okay. And he said, your name will no longer be Jacob, but it will be Israel, which can be translated prince with God, or being straight or having integrity with God, which is contrary exactly to the nature of Jacob's former name and former deeds. Jacob is the only one of the three patriarchs who went through what we call a catharsis, a deep inner transformation. Abraham and Isaac didn't. But Jacob was completely changed, and what came forth essentially was the foundation of the people of God, Israel. And in addition to changing his name, the angel of the Lord, Yeshua, touched the strongest muscle in the body and set it out of joint that Jacob would limp for the rest of his life. Beloved, this is the point of transformation. And none of us will come into the image of the people or the person that God can fully dwell in unless we go through the Jacobean wrestling match, which means that we will look at ourselves in the light of God and then wrestle before the Lord, with the Lord, to be changed in the realization that we cannot change ourselves. What a moment to go, I look at my nature and things inside of me and say, I can't change this, but it needs to be changed. This is the point of deliverance. And Yeshua is the one who does this. So the life lesson of the third patriarch is exposing what's really inside and wrestling with God that he would transform us into his image, that he might be able to inhabit our being. How amazing it is. How intimate this is. And we look at Abraham, his life lesson, Isaac, and then Jacob. And we see a progression of growing intimately into the knowledge of God to become his dwelling place. Praise the Lord.